community safety zone to prohibit within 100 meters of the property any homophobic, transphobic act of intimidation, threat, offensive threats, offensive remarks, protest, disturbance, and distribution of hate propaganda within the meaning of the criminal code.
Prosecution for offensive speech. That sounds like fun. Let's look at our neighbor to the north who wants to prosecute hate speech. Awesome.
The topic that brings us here is deadly serious. The rise of hate and violence facing the 2S LGBTQI+ communities, including the drag artists, happening across Ontario and right in the nation has been alarming. There's been a dramatic spike in violence and discrimination targeting the 2S LGBT community, a rise of over 60% between 2019 and 2021, all recorded by Statistics Canada. This information is also affirmed in anecdotal conversations I've had with so many people from Toronto to Thunder Bay. Literally everywhere in between, we are seeing community members rally, but also they are fearful of what happens next if we don't have protection from the government and law enforcement to take care of them.
Okay. I got a lot to say here, but first, let's look at the visual. I mean, really? What has happened to politicians where they're just fine standing in a group like this? I mean, look at these people. Talk about a motley crew. And I love the Liberals. They're like, oh, there's too many white people, so we better throw a black person in here so you can see the black person. Oh, and not just any black person. We got to make sure she's in a wheelchair. You know that was the conversation that was had. But let's get to the meat of this. Oh, the drag queens are fearful. There's been a rise in hate crimes. A rise in hate speech against drag people. You know, drag shows have been around for a very, very long time. I've been to many of them. They're totally awesome. Why are they in the news now? Why does anybody care about drag shows now? Well, I don't know. Because you've made them all age drag shows? And everybody has a camera in their pocket now, so you see a 4-year-old watching a naked man dressed as a woman on stage. And a lot of us think, that's a little dangerous. Maybe a little weird. Maybe not a good idea. So those people protest outside of all age drag shows saying, we have age limits for strip clubs. And this is kind of similar. So maybe we should just keep it 18 plus. But no, we're going to make that illegal. It is now going to be illegal for you to protest against naked men dressed as women parading in front of a 4-year-old. That will now be illegal. Awesome. That makes total sense.
What we do know is that hate crimes are oftentimes underreported. And even though it is underreported, what I've heard from our drag communities, as well as their audiences, it has been alarming. For months now, as the 2S LGBT critic, I have been repeatedly asking the Ford Conservatives for their plan on what are they going to do to keep this community safe. I've asked them public questions during question period. I've spoken to the ministers in private, trying to urge them to take real action, because we need real action to keep our community safe. Their replies have been consistently vague, unfocused, and ultimately unhelpful.
Keep our community safe? Have there been riots at drag shows in Canada and I didn't see it on the news? That would be really strange. That would be something the news would love to show. Every protest that I have ever seen has been people standing outside, saying, protect our kids, protect our kids, protect our kids, which I don't know. So what protection are you looking for? Is the protection not to hear a different point of view? Is the protection, I don't want anybody to say something bad? Well, that's not something that can happen unless you stop people from speaking.
The drag communities are done waiting for this government to take real action in effective ways, and so is the Ontario NDP. This is why this afternoon I'll be introducing a new private member's bill. This new legislation in Ontario is designed to keep the 2S LGBT community safe. Drag artists, their audiences, the business, and the facilities that host those drag performances have been put at risk. And unless we put forward a strategy to protect them, Ontario's social, economic, and cultural richness is under attack. We have to protect that. The proposed legislation does two things, and I will go through them. Firstly, it enables the Attorney General to create a 2S LGBTQI+ community safety zone to prohibit within 100 meters of the property any homophobic, transphobic act of intimidation, threat, offensive threats, offensive remarks, protest, disturbance, and distribution of hate propaganda within the meaning of the criminal code. It also comes with it a penalty of $25,000 if prosecuted successfully.
Offensive remarks. Offensive remarks. So, freedom of speech. I am really glad I do not live in Canada. And let's point out a couple other things here. 2S LGBTQI+. Where does that come from? I guess LGBT is just not enough. Now we got to add a 2 and an S, and I don't know what the 2 and an S means. Second thing that I cut out, they have a queer caucus. In Canada. She says she's a part of the queer caucus. I'm sorry. Where I come from, queer was a bad word. It was a slur. That's what you used when you were the homophobic person. You called them queer. All of a sudden we've, whatever. Now queer is not bad. Okay, great. So in Canada, if you want to protest a drag show in front of kids, you are now transphobic, which is weird because drag queens are not trans. At least they weren't until 2 seconds ago. They were gay men who performed and performed awesomely. We all love RuPaul's Drag Race. It's awesome. Okay? But all of a sudden that's transphobic? Okay. Homophobic? Okay, maybe, but I mean, I don't even understand that one either. If you are protesting a drag show because it's being done in front of children, what does that have to do with your sexual preference? Could we make any of this make sense?
Apart from the glamorous, dazzling, and wacky characters I play on television or in venues around the world, I also deal with the very real struggles of homophobia, hate crimes, and acts of purposeful intent to intimidate and now disqualify who I am as a person and what I do as a job. I contacted Kristen Wong-Tam's office where I met with them and Marit Stiles to discuss these horrifying bills that are being passed around the United States and how it is rapidly starting to affect our communities right here in our backyards. These threats and intimidation tactics are very real and happening all around us to people we love and care about. Even in recent weeks, I myself have been victim to hate crimes and hate speech. I'm a professional drag queen who loves what I do more than anything in the entire world.
I just love this. I mean, number one, okay, you've been assaulted by hate crimes and hate speech. More information, please. Maybe. Yeah, I'd love to see that. And you had to go to your elected official to protect you from legislation in another country, namely America. Okay. Whatever.
Drag is all about spreading love and acceptance and allows people to feel empowered and special. Drag artists and trans people have an inherent right to live freely and authentically in their truth. Everyone wants and deserves to feel safe and valued in their work. That is why these recent acts of organized protests and hate speech need to be halted and condemned immediately.
There's so many things wrong with what she just said. I don't even know where to start. Number one, It's all about love and acceptance, the drag movement. That's great. So can you love and accept other people's point of view that we don't think it's appropriate for children? Yeah? Is that okay? And everyone deserves to be loved and accepted in what they do. No. People have different opinions, okay? And they have a right to have those opinions, and they have a right to speak out about those opinions. Could we make this make sense? We have age limits for everything. We have age limits for smoking. We have age limits for tattoos. We have age limits for drinking. We have age limits for driving. And we have age limits for strip clubs. All these bills in the United States are saying is, maybe there should be age limits for drag shows. No, maybe you need to be 18. I would even be fine with like 16, whatever. It's a lot of fun. Drag shows are awesome. They're super fun. We just don't think 4-year-olds should be in drag shows. And we are the ones who are insane. We're the ones who are extreme. Us. Because we don't think drag should be in front of a 4-year-old. We're the extreme ones. Okay, guys. This is crazy. Speech is violence. Protect me from speech. I don't want to hear stuff that hurts my feelings. You're attacking me because you are protesting my drag show in front of 5-year-olds. Okay, guys. Auntie Speaks. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please hit the bell. Pass this on. We'll see you in the next one.